LG's phones may not seem like the most exciting devices on the market, as Samsung and Apple continue dominating the premium smartphone space. Even the best LG phones have a bit of trouble keeping up, but they often have unique features that make them a bit more interesting than the competition. LG has robust mid-range and entry-level portfolios, with options along on the price spectrum. It has something for everyone. LG V40 Thin Q. LG has been fighting for the title of best smartphone camera for years. With the V40 Thin Q, it may have finally won the throne. The camera is easily the most significant aspect of this device because it doesn't have one sensor, it has 5. On the rear of the V40 Thin Q is a 12-megapixel camera for standard shots typical of what we see in today's smartphones. It also has a 16-megapixel wide-angle camera to capture a wide field of view and a 12-megapixel telephoto camera for close-up shots. The front on the V40 Thin Q adds an 8-megapixel standard camera and a 5-megapixel wide-angle lens for selfies with multiple friends. Altogether, these cameras add a whole new level of smartphone camera versatility. Photos and video are best viewed in the beautiful 6-inch 3120 by 1440 display. The Snapdragon 845 processor with 6 GB of RAM keeps everything moving. Plus, there's 64 GB of storage for photos, videos, and apps. The 3300 mAh battery is enough to keep you going all day, but you will probably need a recharge every night. LG G8 Thin Q. The LG G8 Thin Q is the latest flagship phone from the folks at LG. On the surface, it looks much like its predecessor, the LG G7. Inside, however, it's another story. While the LG G8 has the same display size as the G7, 6.1-inch screen with 3120 by 1440 resolution and a 19.5:9 aspect ratio screen, the LG G8 ditches the old IPS LCD display tech for an OLED screen. Inside, the LG G8 has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 processor along with 6 GB of memory and 128 GB of upgradable storage. The battery is also larger than the LG G7 at 3500 mAh. The LG G8 has an IP6A dust and water resistance rating and comes with Android 9 Pie. The LG G8 has 2 rear cameras. The standard lens is now 12 megapixels with a 1.5 aperture and a 78 field of view. The second sensor is also a wide-angle lens that's 16 megapixels with a 1.9 aperture and a 107 field of view. There's also an 8-megapixel front-facing camera, but the LG G8 has thrown in what the company calls a Z camera on the front of the phone. It's a time-of-flight (TOF) camera that can be used with the phone's machine learning software to create a true 3D model of your face for true facial recognition. In addition, the LG G8 has another security method called Vein ID. It can create an image of the owner's hand and see the owner's blood veins to unlock the phone. LG claims this Vein ID image should be almost impossible to hack. There's also Air Motion, which can let you unlock the phone with just a wave of a hand, but can be used for other things like answering calls, taking screenshots, and more, without touching the screen itself. LG G7 Thin Q. The phone packs a powerful Snapdragon 845 chipset, giving it about as much horsepower as you could need. With 6.1 inches of high-resolution OLED display, it's definitely pretty where it counts and gets extra bright, helping visibility in direct sunlight. It's all rounded out by a glass front and back with the notched display. Overall, the design is uninspired but serviceable. While LG's AI feature are neat in theory, it's really the flexibility offered by the wide-angle camera on the back that helps the device stand out. On the media side, the LG G7 has surprisingly powerful speakers if you like to listen to music or podcasts directly from your smartphone. Costing $749, the G7 packs a 3120 by 1440 LCD screen, which has a tall 19.5:9 aspect ratio. The G7 was released back in May 2018, so it uses the Snapdragon 845 processor rather than the newer 855. But it's unlikely you'll notice any enormous speed differences. You get two 16-megapixel rear cameras with wide and ultra-wide lenses, so standard and landscape shots should look great, although you might struggle with high-zoom images. Around the front, you get a single 8-megapixel shooter. It's a pretty well-featured phone for its price and definitely worth considering alongside the S10e and iPhone XR. LG V35 Thin Q. If you're on the hunt for a premium smartphone that's still moderately priced, there's good reason to look at the LG V35 Thin Q. The beautiful design immediately catches your eye. With slim bezels and rounded edges, it's clear that LG took design into heavy consideration. There's IP68 water resistance along with wireless charging on board. They even managed to keep the still popular headphone jack. The 6-inch QHD plus OLED full-vision display might be a mouthful, but the 2880 by 1440 resolution is gorgeous. Colors pop and look incredibly lifelike. LG has also included 6 GB of RAM to ensure multitasking never slows you down. The Snapdragon 845 octa-core processor has every app opening lightning fast with almost no perceptible lag. If you're not already sold, the 16-megapixel camera on the back is outstanding. LG takes smartphone photography very seriously and it shows. Throw in a 3300 mAh battery for all-day use and a USB-C for fast charging, and this is a clear winner. LG K8. While the V40 shows off LG's ability to make a wallet-busting flagship phone, the K8 shows it also has a pretty good track record of making cheap phones. The K8 costs just $139, but is a good option for those looking for a little bit of tech in their lives, or just a really cheap phone. It has a decent-sized 5-inch TFT display with a 720 by 1280 resolution. Nothing that'll blow your socks off, but enough for basic tasks. Its 2500 mAh battery is, again, nothing remarkable, but will be enough to deal with the low-end screen and processor and give you a day's worth of talk time. It supports up to 32 GB micro SD cards, so there'll be plenty of room for any photos and games you'll want to share and store as well. Again, it's nothing that will blow you away, but for $140, you'd be hard-pressed to find a much better phone. LG Q6. LG smartphone buyers looking for a great combination of display, battery life, and hardware should take a hard look at the LG Q6 and its feature-to-price ratio. With a 5.5 Full HD Plus IPS Full Vision 2160 by 1080 display and pixel density of 442 ppi, the Q6 is a great choice for catching up on shows or movies while on the go. Manufactured out of 7000 series aluminum, the Q6 is tough enough to handle bumps and drops with military-spec hardware for impressive durability. Powered by Android 7.1 software, a Snapdragon 435 processor, and 3 GB of RAM, the 32 GB of internal memory is expandable to 2 TB via microSD. Set up for use on both AT&T and T-Mobile LTE networks, the Q6 is pre-installed with a selection of Amazon apps, including the Amazon widget. LG Stylo 4. A mid-tier phone doesn't have to be a bad phone, and that's clear with the LG Stylo 4. While we haven't had a chance to review it, it has a lot going for it at a great price. The phone packs a large 6.2-inch display with FHD Plus resolution, though it's not an OLED display. Still, the screen works with LG's active stylus, making it something of a budget Galaxy Note. It comes running Android 8.1 on a Snapdragon 450 chipset with 3 GB of RAM, so it should offer decent performance for everything outside of gaming and heavy multitasking. Aside from the stylus and large screen, there's not all that much to truly get excited about, but it beats going with a 3-year-old flagship running a 3-year-old operating system just to save some money. LG K30. For anyone who wants a reliable smartphone without the bells and whistles, the LG K30 is just about the best budget phone you can find. The 5.3-inch HD display offers accurate and appealing colors in apps, photos, and videos. The Snapdragon processor and 2 GB of RAM make day-to-day functions fast and seamless. At this price, it's surprising to see a fingerprint sensor, and that's a big bonus, offering an extra layer of security and a super fast way to unlock your phone. The sensor rests just below the 8-megapixel rear camera, which takes decent quality photos that are more than suitable for sharing in social media. The 5-megapixel front-facing camera adds an extra LED light for clear selfie shots. As an unlocked device, the phone provides LTE connectivity on AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. It does lack support for 5 GHz Wi-Fi networks, which is not surprising for phones in this range. LG Q7 Plus. The LG Q7 Plus is an upgraded version of the LG Q7, and it is a decent phone at a good value. The immediate catch is that it's not the best phone for every carrier, though there is a special edition that comes unlocked. That said, if you're on T-Mobile or Metro, it's a great mid-budget option. The Q7 Plus offers a 5.5-inch display with a FHD Plus resolution. It may not be OLED, but it also doesn't have the thickest bezels you'll find on a cheap phone. But the Q7 Plus makes up for its so-so looks with its internals. The phone's Snapdragon 450 chipset inside is paired with 4 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage. It runs Android 8.1 out of the box, so it won't feel overly dated anytime soon. LG hasn't announced when the Q7 Plus will get the latest Android 9 Pie. It even gets an aluminum frame and an IP68 rating, so you don't have to worry about a bit of rain killing this phone. If you don't want to spend a lot, this is definitely one to look at. LG X Venture Unlocked. Everyone knows the panic that ensues when your phone slips out of your hand and hits the ground. LG X Venture owners never have to worry. LG has packed this phone full of durable hardware that can withstand a drop or two. The metal frame has reinforced corners to prevent the display from shattering upon impact. And the design has an IP68 rating for dust and water resistance, meaning it can survive being submerged under 5 feet of water for up to 30 minutes. It also passed 14 different military-grade tests for durability. But it isn't just tough, it also performs very well. The Snapdragon 435 octa-core processor keeps everything moving along at a rapid pace. And with 2 GB of RAM, apps never slow down and the device welcomes multitasking with aplomb. The 5.2-inch display adds 1080p resolution with bright colors and sharp visuals. You'll have a long time to enjoy the display thanks to the massive 4100 mAh battery for a full day's use.